Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Allsop Prop Chat. I'm Gareth Hosgood, a partner in the commercial valuation team and head of the Employee Forum. I'm pleased today that we're going to be talking about our social charitable enterprise, The Cycle. This is the first international charity we've supported for a number of years. I'm joined today by two colleagues, Evie and Tilda, and also our guest speaker, Georgina Harding, who is the CEO of The Cycle and also, impressively, within the Forbes 30 Under 30 list in 2017. We're going to be diving into what The Cycle do, mainly in India. We're going to be hearing from Evie and Tilda about their recent trip to India, and then we're going to be hearing about Allsop's fundraising efforts. I'm going to pass you on to my colleagues now for some introductions, perhaps starting with you, Georgina.
Thank you. Yeah, so as Gareth said, I'm Georgina. I'm the CEO of The Cycle UK. We're a not-for-profit organisation that has been running for over 25 years. We currently have an office in the UK and America, but our sister head office is in Chennai in India, where we have a big team there and an incredible CEO, Padma Priya.
How about yourself, Evie?
I'm Evie. I work in the commercial valuation team. I've been at Allsop since 2018 and work, alongside Gareth.
And last but not least, yourself, Tilda.
I am a digital creator and marketing coordinator at the Allsop City office and have been at Allsop for just over a year now.
Okay. Georgina, so our journey with yourselves has been a long one, having started in 2010. Could you sort of give us a bit of a lowdown what your charity has done now and sort of since 2010 and how Allsop's journey has come full circle?
Yes, totally. So as I said, we've been, running for 25 years, but we've been working with you guys, since 2010. I believe the founders were friends and colleagues or peers of one of our founders, Andrew Bars. So I think the relationship between the charity and Allsop's really started from a personal level and a place of kind of real respect and trust. Back in 2010, you guys built, with Jeremy and Scott, built an amazing toilet block that actually is still our largest block that we've ever built. So that's a great record to have. And it's actually really beautiful as well because it's completely circular and it's pink. And actually we still, 15 years later, we still use it as a reference in our documents. And that, as an organisation, we have basically three pillars of work: water, women, and world. But for 25 years, a big focus has been on building toilets. So you guys, as partners, have been instrumental in that journey. Personally, been with the charity now full time for 2 years, but I was kind of with them a little bit before, and we have just grown so much. And I think what's so amazing is actually the fact that we are embarking on almost like a third phase of our journey with you guys. And also you can witness our growth. So I think back in 2012, a lot of our work was really around toilets and the provision of toilets for community members and schools. But really now, and Evie and Tilda has seen from coming to India how much our work has really expanded. And we do a lot of work around menstruation. So we have an award-winning program called Happy Periods, where we teach menstrual, sexual and reproductive health literacy. We do a lot around menstrual disorders. So we ran India's first and largest study around menstrual disorders with focus on endometriosis. And even within our water work, that has grown just from kind of toilets and hand washing to things like water body restoration. So I think, we've really evolved and grown, and it's so exciting for us that you guys can kind of hit us at that moment and really seeing how we've grown, because it's with partners like you that, we've been able to get to where we are today.
I think seeing the water body restoration when we were out there was amazing. We stopped for a trip when we saw the original construction from where it should have been up to, and then this invasive weed called Prosophis, I hope I've said that right, which has just taken over completely. And the Cycle are hoping to rejuvenate that and clear the Prosophis from the water source, enabling, is it 750 homes or dwellings that will be able to get water, which don't have access to it at all at the moment. It's something like 2 kilometres away, isn't it? The nearest water source.
So in Ramnad, which is one of the districts that we work in, only 3% of the water source is what they call fit for use. So water scarcity, it's a global problem, but in India, especially in the south, it's really, really prolific.
And just on the sort of female empowerment, I know you're not just educating females, you're actually helping sort of fathers, uncles, brothers, and sort of male sort of colleagues and teachers. How do you do that?
That's a really important thing for us. You know, one of our values as an organisation is not leaving anyone behind. So in terms of even the cohorts of community members, we work with the most marginalised. But for us, it really is about gender inclusivity. And there is still a lot of stigma and shame that kind of shrouds menstruation and periods and puberty. Just because it happens to, you know, someone, you know, that has a period, that doesn't actually stop the stigma and shame. So what's important for us is we teach the boys about boys and girls and the girls about girls and boys to ensure there's a whole behavioural shift and a kind of whole community mindset shift. And it's really cool. So not this trip, but last year when I was there in India visiting some of our schools, it was the first time I actually saw teenage boys in our kind of period education class, Happy Periods. And it was so cool watching teenage boys, you know, learning about what happens to a girl's body. You know, what are the changes? What is a painful period? You know, what happens? And you know, I was sitting there as someone that lives in London thinking, God, you'd not have this in the UK. You know,
the education side, your head. Yeah,
absolutely. And I was like, this is feminism. You know, this is where you see big change. And also, I think what's amazing is even our trainers. So one of our trainers who is the most amazing person, he's so theatrical. I could watch him all day. His name is Giri. And actually we saw one of the trainings and he was training, you know, this community of women and women who had their babies all around menstruation. And, you know, these women are locked into him, you know, they're watching him and it's just, it feels like the epicenter of change. It's so cool.
We saw that across a lot of your training and most of the things we watched. I don't know if you agree, Tilda, everyone was just completely locked in and everyone, their engagement was unbelievable, really surprising as well. If you compare it to schools in England, it was just it was quite impressive to see.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely one of my most favourite parts of the trip because it's information that is life-changing to these people. It's the kind of thing that we, as you know, we're so privileged of where we've grown up in London and we've had access to the NHS and healthcare, whereas these people just don't have that. They don't have the knowledge of what to look out for if something is wrong. They don't have the knowledge of how best to dispose of their menstrual products or even, you know, the ramifications of if they don't wash their hands properly. It's just a completely different way of living. And it's so... I mean, I'm a massive believer that education is primary and just understanding different points of view and different people and different needs. And that's why I love how men and boys are educated too, because women are going to be in their household. They might be their children. They might be their mothers or their sisters. And if a man doesn't understand what their partner, their wife, or even is going through or could go through, I mean, you can't support them in the best way. And that's what I love to see as well.
No, it's so true. And I think on that point, you know, something really, I guess, important for me to note is how important that cultural nuance is as well. And I think something that's a uniqueness and a strength for us as an organisation is our team in India.
For sure. I loved when Priya told us what she was saying to the children in the Happy Periods training, when she said, you know, taking care of yourself is the best way that you can take care of your family as well. So understanding your body and what is normal and what is okay and what might be cause for concern and just taking care of, you know, who you are. And I thought that was just so lovely. And the girls seemed to really appreciate it. And it was as though they hadn't really been spoken to like that before, which was really nice as well. You know, it helps a shift in their mindset as well, that they are important, that, you know, they need to help take care in their home or, you know, in their studies, what they want to do with their life. It was really nice.
I think that's so true. And I think as Westerners, we often give money to people or give money to charities and you might not see where the money is ending up. And I think that was quite incredible when we were there, is you could directly see where the money was being fed into.
Definitely. The school that we went to visit that had recently had a toilet block built, that has now received additional government funding to further build, I think it's 11 or 13 classrooms. 13 classrooms. And I mean, it goes to show that with a little bit of help, you can get your foot in the door and then you can throw it wide open, you know? Having those extra classrooms means better education. It means more children can come to the school. It means that the whole community benefits. You know, it sounds simple. Oh yeah, okay, to build a toilet, but there's so much more to it than that.
I also think the incredible thing about that is it was Mannequin, wasn't it, that had designed the structural, because the school was built on clay and they were having to move the whole school. It looked like they were going to have to move the whole school to a completely different site because of the structure. None of the buildings were sort of safe to occupy. And he came up with this amazing, which sounds so simple for us in the West to have these buildings built on clay, but actually for them in a really remote village, he's built this amazing toilet block, which now they're going to use, aren't they, in the government to build the additional classrooms, which is incredible that it's come essentially from your funding.
You know what's so amazing? How eloquently you both can speak about the charity. I don't even need to be here. I think this is the joy and the power of a trip like that.
100%.
It's not just, let's fling some money towards this cause and you know, we think it's going towards X, Y, Z. What is so important for us is the empowerment of our donors as well, and bringing you close to the work and giving you the little stories and really showcasing the impact that we do have and things like that.
I think that's one of the key reasons why Allsop wants to flip the story in the narrative. Normally we go to the visit, maybe post our fundraising. But this year we decided actually let's go on the outset to encourage fundraising. I know we've got some key missions, and I know your trip, there's certain fundraising targets. If we raise X, we can build something. If we raise Y, we'll be able to build 2 times.
Yes.
And do you want to sort of discuss, Evie, some of our ambitions from an Allsop perspective?
Yes, we're trying to raise. So there's one school that's been pinpointed that we might be able to help from the Allsop fundraising.
That we strategically took you to.
Yes.
And one way to sell them in.
Yeah, they took us, the cycle team took us to one that had not been funded, which is one that hopefully we can help with, and then one that had been funded, and it was pretty eye-opening to see the difference. The one that hasn't been funded, they had built the classrooms, I think it was in 1950 something, and they'd not been touched since. And when I say not been touched, you could see they'd not been touched since. The loo facilities were absolutely diabolical, but still in use. And it was pretty eye-opening to see. So for that, I might have got my figures wrong, but we're hoping to raise at least 17,000 to be able to help at least one of the, I think it's the girls' loo block that will hopefully cover. If we could push it to 30 grand in total, we could actually do the rainwater collection, the hand washing system. We could also do a drinking water, is that correct? Yeah, and a female and male loo block, which would be just incredible. And I think it's been quite eye-opening to see some of the Allsop teams. We're doing an incentive this year. Each team is raising £1,000, hopefully, to enable this. Minimum, yes. Minimum. Yes, definitely minimum. And hopefully we can raise that. But there's been some quite interesting initiatives that we're doing. Things like, I mean, the commercial vows team, I'll speak on behalf of them, are doing a spinning class coming up, which we will get Georgie and Lily onto as well.
The social cycle, we call it.
The social cycle.
Oh, fun.
We've already got quite a few clients signed up to that who've been donating as their ticket price, which will be really fun. And then we've also got things like a Kaylee dance, which is being organised by the National Investment Team. We've got the cake bakes that go around the office far too often for my stomach line, and then they've got the Christmas gift wrapping, and I think they had something else as well.
Was
gift
it a
wrapping
shop?
And shop, yes, and shop service, which the marketing and operations team did. It's endless, but Tilda and I have also had to raise money towards the donation separately as well. I'm personally doing a themed Indian supper clubs, which I've done 2 of, and I've got some of the team coming round for my next one and another one hopefully later on in the year. And Tilda is doing something really interesting as well.
I'm doing a market stall in Portobello Road in the summer, where I will be selling sustainable goods, reusable period products, basically using it as a plug to get money, but also a plug for education and spreading the word to the general public. Yeah, so all proceeds will go obviously to the charity, and hopefully I'll get more further donations as well.
That sounds amazing. And I think for us, it's like music to my ears, because I think it should be fun as well, like fundraising and, getting the team involved. And I think, sometimes when you work with a corporate, it almost stays at management level or founder level. It's kind of like the C-suite thing of, people get the trickle down information of, oh, wait, is that our charity partner? And I think what's so amazing about you guys is it feels like it's becoming part of the DNA and everyone's getting involved. And, I've already been into the office to talk to people, and obviously you guys have come on the trip. Like, I think that's so exciting as well, because for us, obviously raising money is so impactful, but also people carrying our message as well, and people, not just saying, oh, the cycle, I think that's the charity we're giving money to, but oh, this is what they're doing, and this is how they work, and this is the impact they're having. I think that for us is just super, super impactful, and yeah, amazing to hear.
And could we maybe just touch upon the self-sufficiency of the charity?
Yeah.
Since we donate you the money, you build a block, which is hopefully used from local construction workers, but actually it's creating jobs on the ground in India. And could you sort of touch upon that and sort of how the fundraising goes to long-term jobs?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, not only kind of long-term jobs, but ownership as well. So something that's so important for us is we don't just kind of build something and deliver it and hope it's going to get used, but actually it's about working with the community. So we didn't go see it on this last trip, but we have a women's complex. It's a little village, and we built a toilet block in there. And from the beginning, we identified a few women within the community who were kind of like central in the community to create a kind of like a wash committee. And they helped with everything. These women were working with us doing the water mapping, the mapping of, okay, where are the toilets going to be? Where do the doors need to be? Where is the menstrual incinerator going to be? And I think for us, when we talk about sustainability, it's really about longevity. How do we ensure that these projects are going to kind of live a lifetime and not just it's all there for the pictures and then suddenly it gets kind of disused or, misused? And that has been, I think, one of the biggest keys to our success is actually empowering the community from the beginning. And it's so cool when we go see these projects, because it's the community members that are showing us around, that it's this real ownership. And then there is a care, and it's theirs. It doesn't feel like this idea of charity of we're giving them something, but actually it's coming from the community. We even do that with schools. So some of our school work, especially when we do kind of like climate literacy, we have a child parliament that we establish in the school, which is literally the cutest thing I've ever seen, because they all have caps and there are ministers and deputies for everything. So there's a water minister and a deputy, and a recycling minister and a deputy. And yes, there are this kind of creation of jobs, but it's a creation of empowerment that the minister and the deputy that's in charge of kind of waste or recycling takes ownership of that. And, we as a charity, we just become the facilitators. We are the ones that really firstly listen to the need of the community. What is it that you need? And then we just facilitate and they own it. A really fun story. So the wash complex, the one in the women's village. So we built the women's block and we were going to build the men's block. But the women said, don't build the men's block yet, because we have a feeling that, we're going to take care of our block. We're going to clean it. We're going to monitor it, etc. We don't think the men are ready to clean their own toilet. So the women asked the men and they were like, are you going to clean the toilet? They were like, no. So the women said to us, they're not ready for their toilet. This was 2 years ago. We went back last year and we were like, we can probably quite easily raise the money for the men's toilet blocks. And the women were like, they're not ready.
And they're still not ready.
They're still not ready. And that, we're not going to build it just because a donor is giving us money or we think that the men should have this toilet block. We will build it when the community tell us now is the right time,
I think we saw that as well when we were there literally on our last visit was a community centre, well, not community centre, yeah, community centre, which they had the some training that Georgie mentioned earlier. And David, part of the cycle, he sort of stood up and said, what do you actually need? And a government body responded, a male government body responded, and he went, actually, would you mind just letting the ladies from the community talk? It was really empowering to see that, because firstly, they sort of discussed it between themselves, and then suddenly somebody stood up, the bravest there stood up and said, this is actually what we need. Really fascinating.
From the ground up, I think that's the most important thing. You know, even our team, you know, Priya, she's not going to go into a community and tell them what they need. It's we listen, you know, we listen to the needs, because then you are building things that are going to last, because they're valued from day one.
I think this is something sort of Allsop and yourself, Georgina, we could talk all day, but perhaps I can ask sort of one last question to Tilda and Evie in terms of what's one key takeaway you had from your experience in India?
I think mine was we witnessed an inauguration, and that was absolutely incredible. I think that was my most impactful moment, is we watched, firstly, we were greeted at the gates, and this whole ceremony of different children doing different sort of dances and different shows, and we just were walked through this sort of amazing school, and you could feel the buzz as soon as you got there. And we got to the loos that had just been built, and they were sponsored by, I think, Ripple and a couple of other people. And we got there, and suddenly this curtain was drawn, and it was all very exciting. And the children,
unveiling.
Yeah, the unveiling of this loo block. And then we cut the ribbon. Tilda and I were very lucky to be able to cut the ribbon, and seeing there were about 5 girls ahead of us, and they were sort of stunned as soon as they walked in and just completely silent. And then I think it was Heather or Shelley turned around and went, do you like them? What do you think of them? And they were just absolutely ear-to-ear grins.
That's lovely. How about yourself, Tilda?
I think my main takeaway is just sort of the drip effect in how we might be able to help one school with our fundraising this year, but there are hundreds of kids at that school. Building them functioning, clean, safe, secure toilets and rainwater collection for dry months and hand washing facilities. Those hundreds of kids will then go out into the world and live their lives and pass on the information to their kids. And it's not something that is necessarily going to make a massive difference to the whole south of India tomorrow, but it's something that is just so paramount in what we take for granted in our daily life. And, you know, yeah, I think it's just brilliant.
Thanks, Tilda. No doubt this has raised more questions and answers. If you'd like to speak to Georgina and hear more about the cycle, we'll put a link in the summary and a bit of a plug, which Tilda's going to talk about in terms of the fundraising.
If you'd like to donate to Allsop's big effort, please do on our Just Giving page. The link is down in the summary below. And give as much as you can, be as generous as you can, give to every single team if you can. Thank you.
And just a thank you for me, Georgina, and thank you, Evie and Tilda. And let's get fundraising.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.